You've worked so hard today. The day just flew by, didn't it? Now take a moment to pause and let everything go. Tonight we'll read Judges chapters 16 through 21 together. Listen slowly, comfortably. One day Samson went to Gaza, where he saw a prostitute. He went in to spend the night with her. The people of Gaza were told, "Samson is here." So they surrounded the place and lay in wait for him all night at the city gate. They made no move during the night, saying, "At dawn we'll kill him." But Samson lay there only until the middle of the night. Then he got up and took hold of the doors of the city gate, together with the two posts, and tore them loose, bar and all. He lifted them to his shoulders and carried them to the top of the hill that faces Hebron. Sometime later, he fell in love with a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. The rulers of the Philistines went to her and said, "See if you can lure him into showing you the secret of his great strength, and how we can overpower him so we may tie him up and subdue him. Each of us will give you 1,100 shekels of silver." So Delilah said to Samson, "Tell me the secret of your great strength and how you can be tied up and subdued." Samson answered her, "If anyone ties me with 7 fresh bowstrings that have not been dried, I'll become as weak as any other man." Then the Philistine rulers brought her 7 fresh bowstrings that had not been dried, and she tied him with them. With men hidden in the room, she called to him, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." But he snapped the bowstrings as easily as a piece of string snaps when it comes close to a flame. So the secret of his strength was not discovered. Then Delilah said to Samson, "You have made a fool of me. You lied to me. Come now, tell me how you can be tied." He said, "If anyone ties me securely with new ropes that have never been used, I'll become as weak as any other man." So Delilah took new ropes and tied him with them. Then, with men hidden in the room, she called to him, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." But he snapped the ropes off his arms as if they were threads. Then Delilah said to Samson, "Until now you have been making a fool of me and lying to me. Tell me how you can be tied." He replied, "If you weave the 7 braids of my head into the fabric on the loom and tighten it with the pin, I'll become as weak as any other man." So while he was sleeping, Delilah took the 7 braids of his head, wove them into the fabric, and tightened it with the pin. Again she called to him, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He awoke from his sleep and pulled up the pin and the loom with the fabric. Then she said to him, "How can you say, 'I love you,' when you won't confide in me? This is the 3rd time you have made a fool of me and haven't told me the secret of your great strength." With such nagging, she prodded him day after day until he was sick to death of it. So he told her everything. "No razor has ever been used on my head," he said, "because I have been a Nazirite dedicated to God from my mother's womb. If my head were shaved, my strength would leave me, and I would become as weak as any other man." When Delilah saw that he had told her everything, she sent word to the Philistine rulers, "Come back one more time. He has told me everything." So the Philistine rulers came up to her with the silver in their hands. After putting him to sleep on her lap, she called a man to shave off the 7 braids of his hair, and so began to subdue him. And his strength left him. Then she called, "Samson, the Philistines are upon you." He awoke from his sleep and thought, "I'll go out as before and shake myself free." But he did not know that the Lord had left him. Then the Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and took him down to Gaza. They bound him with bronze shackles and set him to grinding grain in the prison. But the hair on his head began to grow again after it had been shaved. Now the Philistine rulers gathered to offer a great sacrifice to Dagon their god and to celebrate, saying, "Our God has delivered Samson our enemy into our hands." When the people saw him, they praised their God, saying, "Our God has delivered our enemy into our hands, the one who laid waste our land and multiplied our slain." While they were in high spirits, they shouted, "Bring out Samson to entertain us." So they called Samson from the prison, and he performed for them. When they stood him among the pillars, Samson said to the servant who held his hand, "Put me where I can feel the pillars that support the temple, so that I may lean against them." Now the temple was crowded with men and women. All the rulers of the Philistines were there, and on the roof were about 3,000 men and women watching Samson perform. Then Samson prayed to the Lord, "Sovereign Lord, remember me. Please, God, strengthen me just one more time, and let me with one blow get revenge on the Philistines for my 2 eyes." Then Samson reached toward the 2 central pillars on which the temple stood, bracing himself against them, his right hand on one and his left hand on the other. Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." Then he pushed with all his might, and down came the temple on the rulers and all the people in it. Thus he killed many more when he died than while he lived. Then his brothers and his whole family went down to get him. They brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the tomb of Manoah his father. He had led Israel for 20 years. Now there was a man in the hill country of Ephraim whose name was Micah. He said to his mother, "The 1,100 shekels of silver that were taken from you, and about which you uttered a curse in my hearing, I have that silver with me. I took it." Then his mother said, "The Lord bless you, my son." When he returned the 1,100 shekels of silver to his mother, she said, "I solemnly dedicate my silver to the Lord for my son to make an image overlaid with silver." So when he returned the silver to his mother, she took 200 shekels of silver and gave them to a silversmith, who made them into an image overlaid with silver, and it was in Micah's house. Now this man Micah had a shrine, and he made an ephod and some household gods and installed one of his sons as his priest. In those days, Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit. A young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, who was a sojourner there, left that town in Judah to find another place to live. He came to Micah's house in the hill country of Ephraim. Micah asked him, "Where are you from?" "I'm a Levite from Bethlehem in Judah," he replied, "and I'm looking for a place to live." Then Micah said to him, "Stay with me and be my father and priest, and I'll give you 10 shekels of silver a year, your clothes and your food." So the Levite agreed to stay with him. And the Levite was pleased to stay with the man as if he were one of Micah's sons. So Micah installed the Levite, and the young man became his priest and lived in his house. Then Micah said, "Now I know that the Lord will be good to me, since this Levite has become my priest." In those days, Israel had no king. And in those days, the tribe of the Danites was seeking a place of their own, where they might settle, because they had not yet come into an inheritance among the tribes of Israel. So the Danites sent 5 of their able men from Zorah and Eshtaol to spy out the land and explore it. These men said to them, "Go, explore the land." So they entered the hill country of Ephraim and came to the house of Micah and spent the night there. When they were near Micah's house, they recognized the voice of the young Levite. So they turned in there and asked him, "Who brought you here? What are you doing in this place? What makes you stay here?" He told them what Micah had done for him and said, "He hired me, and I am his priest." Then they said to him, "Please inquire of God to learn whether our journey will be successful." The priest answered them, "Go in peace. Your journey has the Lord's approval." So the 5 men left and came to Laish, where they saw that the people were living in security, like the Sidonians, carefree and unsuspecting. The land was rich, there was nothing lacking in it that is on the earth, and they were far from the Sidonians and had no relationship with anyone. When they returned to Zorah and Eshtaol, their relatives asked them, "How did you find things?" They answered, "Come on, let's attack them. We have seen the land and it is very good. Aren't you going to do anything? Don't hesitate to go there and take it over. When you get there, you will find an unsuspecting people and a spacious land that God has given you, a land that lacks nothing." Then 600 men of the Danite clan, all armed for battle, set out from Zorah and Eshtaol. On their way, they camped at Kiriath Jearim in Judah. This is why the place above Kiriath Jearim is called Mahane Dan to this day. From there they went on to the hill country of Ephraim and came to Micah's house. The 5 men who had spied out the land of Laish said to their brothers, "Do you know that in these houses there is an ephod, some household gods, a carved image and a cast idol? Now you know what to do." So they turned in there and went to the house of the young Levite at Micah's place and greeted him. The 600 Danites, armed for battle, stood at the entrance of the gate. The 5 men who had spied out the land went inside and carried off the carved image, the ephod, the household gods and the cast idol, while the priest and the 600 armed men stood at the entrance of the gate. When these men went into Micah's house and took the carved image, the ephod, the household gods and the cast idol, the priest said to them, "What are you doing?" They answered him, "Be quiet, don't say a word. Come with us and be our father and priest. Isn't it better for you to be a priest to a tribe and clan in Israel than to just one man's household?" Then the priest was glad. He took the ephod, the household gods and the carved image, and went along with the people. Turning around, they set out with the little children, the livestock, and the valuables going on ahead. When they had gone some distance from Micah's house, the men who lived near Micah were called together and overtook the Danites. As they shouted after the Danites turned around and said to Micah, "What's the matter with you that you come along with such a crowd?" He replied, "You took the gods I made and my priest and went off. What else do I have? How can you ask, 'What's the matter with you?'" The Danites answered, "Don't argue with us, or some of these men may get angry and attack you, and you and your family will lose your lives. So the Danites went their way, and Micah, seeing that they were too strong for him, turned around and went home. Then the Danites took what Micah had made, and his priest, and went on to Laish, against a people living peaceful and secure. They attacked them with the sword and burned down their city. There was no one to rescue them because they lived a long way from Sidon and had no relationship with anyone else. The city was in the valley near Beth Rehob. The Danites rebuilt the city and settled there. They named it Dan after their ancestor Dan, who was born to Israel, though the city's original name was Laish. There the Danites set up for themselves the idol, and Jonathan, son of Gershom, the son of Moses, and his sons were priests for the tribe of Dan until the time of the captivity of the land. They continued to use the idol Micah had made as long as the house of God was in Shiloh. In those days, Israel had no king. And in those days, there was a Levite living in the remote parts of the hill country of Ephraim, who took a concubine from Bethlehem in Judah. But she was unfaithful to him and left him. She went back to her father's home in Bethlehem in Judah and stayed there for 4 months. Her husband went to her to persuade her to return. He took with him his servant and 2 donkeys. When he came to her father's house, the girl's father saw him and welcomed him gladly. His father-in-law, the girl's father, detained him, and he stayed with him 3 days, eating and drinking and sleeping there. On the 4th day, he got up early in the morning to leave. But the girl's father said to his son-in-law, "Refresh yourself with some food before you go." So the 2 of them sat down and ate and drank together. Then the girl's father said to the man, "Please stay another night and enjoy yourself." And when the man got up to go, his father-in-law urged him, so he stayed there that night also. On the 5th day, he got up early in the morning to leave, and the girl's father said, "Refresh yourself, and stay till the day declines." So the 2 of them ate. When the man and his concubine and his servant got up to leave, his father-in-law, the girl's father, said, "See, the day is drawing to a close. Spend the night here. The day is nearly over. Stay here and enjoy yourself. Early tomorrow morning you can get up and be on your way home." But the man was not willing to spend the night there. He got up and departed, and came to a place opposite Jebus, that is, Jerusalem. He had with him 2 saddled donkeys and his concubine. When they were near Jebus and the day was almost gone, the servant said to his master, "Come, let's stop at this Jebusite city and spend the night in it." His master replied, "No, we won't go into an alien city, one not belonging to the Israelites. We will go on to Gibeah." He added, "Come, let's try to reach Gibeah or Ramah and spend the night in one of those towns." So they continued on their way, and the sun set as they neared Gibeah in Benjamin. There they stopped to spend the night. They went and sat in the city square, but no one took them into their home for the night. That evening, an old man returning from his work in the field saw them. He was from the hill country of Ephraim, but had been living in Gibeah, whose people were Benjamites. The old man looked up and saw the traveler in the city square. "Where are you going?" he asked. "And where did you come from?" He answered, "We are traveling from Bethlehem in Judah to the remote hill country of Ephraim, where I live. I went to Bethlehem in Judah, and now I am going to the house of the Lord, but no one has taken me into his house. We have straw and fodder for our donkeys, and bread and wine for ourselves and your female servant and the young man with us. We don't lack anything." "You are welcome in my house," the old man said. "Let me supply all your needs. Just don't spend the night in the square." So he took him into his house and gave fodder to the donkeys. After they had washed their feet, they had something to eat and drink. While they were enjoying themselves, some of the wicked men of the city surrounded the house. Pounding on the door, they shouted to the old man who owned the house, "Bring out the man who came to your house so we can have sex with him." The owner of the house went outside and said to them, "No, my friends, don't be so vile. Since this man is my guest, don't do this outrageous thing. Look, here's my virgin daughter and his concubine. Then all the Israelites from Dan to Beersheba, as well as from the land of Gilead, came out as one and assembled before the Lord in Mizpah. The leaders of all the people of Israel took their places in the assembly of God's people. 400,000 men on foot, armed with swords. The Benjamites heard that the Israelites had gone up to Mizpah. Then the Israelites said, "Tell us how this awful thing happened." So the Levite, the husband of the murdered woman, said, "I and my concubine came to Gibeah in Benjamin to spend the night. During the night, the men of Gibeah came and surrounded the house, intending to kill me. They abused my concubine so horribly that she died. I took my concubine, cut her into pieces, and sent one piece to each of the 12 districts of Israel, because they committed this lewd and disgraceful act in Israel. Now all you Israelites, speak up and give your decision here." All the people rose as one and said, "None of us will go home. No, not one of us will return to his house. Instead, this is what we will do to Gibeah. We will go up against it as the lot directs. We will take 10 men out of every 100 from all the tribes of Israel, 100 from every 1,000, and 1,000 from every 10,000, to get provisions for the army. Then, when the army arrives in Gibeah in Benjamin, they can serve her as she deserves for this outrageous act committed in Israel." So all the Israelites got together and united as one man against the city. The tribes of Israel sent men throughout the tribe of Benjamin, saying, "What about this evil that was committed among you? Now turn those wicked men of Gibeah over to us, so that we may put them to death and purge the evil from Israel." But the Benjamites would not listen to their fellow Israelites. From their towns they came together at Gibeah to fight the Israelites. At that time the Benjamites from their towns mustered 26,000 armed men, besides 700 select men from Gibeah. Among all these soldiers there were 700 select men who were left-handed, each of whom could sling a stone at a hair and not miss. Israel, apart from Benjamin, mustered 400,000 armed men, all of them fighting men. The Israelites went up to Bethel and inquired of God. They said, "Who of us shall go first to fight against the Benjamites?" The Lord answered, "Judah shall go first." The next morning the Israelites got up and encamped against Gibeah. They marched out from Gibeah to fight the Benjamites and took up battle positions against them. The Benjamites came out of Gibeah and slaughtered 22,000 Israelites on the battlefield that day. But the Israelites encouraged one another and again took up battle positions in the same place where they had arrayed themselves the first day. The Israelites went up and wept before the Lord until evening. They inquired of the Lord, "Shall we go up again to fight against the Benjamites, our fellow Israelites?" The Lord answered, "Go up against them." Then the Israelites drew near to the Benjamites the second day. This time, on the second day, the Benjamites came out from Gibeah to meet them and slaughtered another 18,000 Israelites, all of them armed with swords. Then all the Israelites, the whole army, went up to Bethel, and there they sat weeping before the Lord. They fasted that day until evening, and presented burnt offerings and fellowship offerings to the Lord. The Israelites inquired of the Lord, for the ark of the covenant of God was there in those days. And Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, ministered before it. They asked, "Shall we go up again to fight against the Benjamites, our fellow Israelites, or not?" The Lord responded, "Go, for tomorrow I will give them into your hands." Then Israel set an ambush all around Gibeah. They went up against the Benjamites on the third day and took up battle positions against Gibeah as they had done before. But the Benjamites came out to meet them and were drawn away from the city. They began to inflict casualties on the Israelites as before, killing about 30 men on the roads, the one leading to Bethel and the other to Gibeah, and in the open country. The Benjamites thought, "They are fleeing from us as at the first." But the Israelites had planned to retreat and draw them away from the city to the roads. So the Israelites rose from their positions and formed ranks at Baal-Tamar, and the Israelite ambush charged out of its place west of Gibeah. Then 10,000 of Israel's finest troops advanced on Gibeah and attacked it. The battle was fierce, but the Benjamites did not realize that disaster was about to fall on them. The Lord defeated Benjamin before Israel, and the Israelites slaughtered 25,100 Benjamites that day, all armed with swords. Then the Benjamites saw that they were beaten. The Israelites had given way before Benjamin, trusting that the ambush they had set for Gibeah would work. The men in the ambush rushed into Gibeah, spread out, and put the whole city to the sword. The Israelites had arranged with the ambush that they would send up a smoke signal from the city. Then the Israelites advanced in the battle, and the Benjamites began to inflict casualties on the Israelites again, killing about 30 of them. They said, "At last we are defeating them as in the first battle." But when the column of smoke began to rise from the city, the Benjamites looked behind them and saw the whole city going up in smoke. Then the men of Israel turned around, and the Benjamites were terrified because they realized that disaster had come upon them. So they turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. But the Israelites pursued them along the roads and cut down their stragglers from every town. They surrounded the Benjamites, chased them relentlessly, and overran them from Gibeah on the east toward their resting place. 18,000 Benjamites fell, all of them brave warriors. The survivors turned and fled into the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. 5,000 of them were cut down along the roads, and the Israelites pressed hard after them as far as Gidom and struck down 2,000 more. On that day, 25,000 Benjamite swordsmen fell, all of them brave warriors. But 600 men were able to turn and flee into the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon, where they stayed for 4 months. The Israelites went back to Benjamin and put all the towns to the sword, including the animals and everything else they found. All the towns they came across they also set on fire. The men of Israel had taken an oath at Mizpah. Not one of us will give his daughter in marriage to a Benjamite. The people went to Bethel and sat there before God until evening, raising their voices and weeping bitterly. Lord God of Israel, they cried, why has this happened in Israel? Why should one tribe be missing from Israel today? Early the next day, the people built an altar and presented burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. Then the Israelites asked, who among all the tribes of Israel failed to assemble before the Lord at Mizpah? For they had taken a solemn oath that anyone who failed to assemble before the Lord at Mizpah was to be put to death. Now the Israelites grieved for their fellow Benjamites and said, today one tribe is cut off from Israel. How can we provide wives for those who are left? Since we have taken an oath by the Lord not to give them any of our daughters in marriage. Then they asked, which one of the tribes of Israel failed to assemble before the Lord at Mizpah? They discovered that no one from Jabesh Gilead had come to the assembly in the camp. For when they counted the people, not a single one from Jabesh Gilead was there. So the assembly sent 12,000 of their most valiant men, with orders to go to Jabesh Gilead and kill with the sword everyone there, including the women and children. This is what you are to do, they said. Kill every male and every woman who is not a virgin. They found among the people living in Jabesh Gilead 400 young women who had never slept with a man. And they took them to the camp at Shiloh in Canaan. Then the whole assembly sent an offer of peace to the Benjamites at the rock of Rimmon. So the Benjamites returned, and the Israelites gave them the women of Jabesh Gilead who had been spared. But there were not enough for all of them. The people grieved for Benjamin, because the Lord had made a gap in the tribes of Israel. And the elders of the assembly said, with the Benjamite women dead, how are we to provide wives for the men who are left? The Benjamite survivors must have heirs, so that a tribe of Israel may not be wiped out. We cannot give them our daughters as wives, because we have taken an oath by the Lord, cursed be anyone who gives a wife to a Benjamite. But look, there is an annual festival of the Lord in Shiloh, to the north of Bethel, east of the highway that goes from Bethel to Shechem, and south of Lebonah. So they instructed the Benjamites, saying, go and lie in wait in the vineyards. When you see the young women of Shiloh come out to join in the dancing, rush out of the vineyards, and each of you seize one of them to be your wife. Then go to the land of Benjamin. When their fathers or brothers come to us to complain, we will say to them, do us the favor of helping them, because we did not get wives for them during the war, and you are not guilty of giving them to them. So that is what the Benjamites did. While the young women were dancing, each man caught one and carried her off to be his wife. Then they returned to their inheritance and rebuilt the towns and settled in them. At that time, the Israelites left that place and went home to their tribes and clans, each to his own inheritance. In those days, Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit. Tonight we read Judges chapters 16 through 21 together. Samson, betrayed by Delilah, had his hair cut and eyes gouged out, but in his final moment brought down the pillars and judged the Philistines. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. This was the end of a dark era. We too need the right guide. When we follow God, we won't lose our way. You've done so well today. Rest peacefully now. Sleep well, sweet dreams.
believing my hands could hold the world alone. I trusted fire in my own heart, forgetting where the light had truly come from. The night grew silent when my pride had spoken louder than my prayers, and in the darkness I lost the song I used to sing with you. Chains were born from my own choices, walls I helped to build myself. I could not see your mercy waiting, patient as the dawn. Even when my eyes were taken, still your gaze stayed on me. Love remained when hope fell gone. Your love remains when I fall apart, when faith is thin and days are hard. You call my name from broken ground and lift my soul without a sound. Your love remains through shattered plans, through silent nights I cannot stand. Still you say, my child, you are mine. In a land confused and trembling, every heart went its own way, yet your voice was never absent, softly calling us to stay. When the world forgot your goodness, you did not turn away. From ashes you bring purpose, from ruin you restore. Even now your mercy stands before my open door. Your love remains beyond my fear, beyond my sin, beyond my tears. From beginning to the end of days, your love remains. Your love remains.
I thought I knew the road ahead. I trusted strength instead of truth. My steps were fast, my heart was loud. I barely noticed you.
I saw the cracks, I felt the fear when courage slipped away. Yet even then you stayed so near, though I had gone astray.
When all the light was gone from sight, your love was still the
same. Still you love me, still you call me by my name, still you hold me when I'm weak and full of shame. Though the world is torn and hearts are torn apart, still you love me, still you guard my heart.
In days where everyone chose wrong
And truth was left behind,
your quiet grace kept shining through the darkness of our minds.
you never left, you never failed, your mercy stood the test. Still you love me, now and always I can rest. Still you love me. with strength I did not understand, believing my hands could hold the world alone. I trusted fire in my own heart, forgetting where the light had truly come from. The night grew silent when my pride spoken, louder than my prayers. And in the darkness I lost the song I used to sing with you.
Chains were born from my own choices, walls I held to build myself. I could not see your mercy waiting, patient as the dawn. And even when my eyes were taken, still your gaze stayed on me.
Love remained when hope felt gone. Your love remains when I fall apart, when faith is thin and days are hard. You call my name from broken ground and lift my soul without a sound. Your love remains through shattered plans, through silent nights I cannot stand.
Still you say, my child, you are mine.
In a land confused and trembling, every heart went its own way. Yet your voice was never absent.
Softly calling us to stay.
When the world forgot your goodness, you did not turn away.
From ashes you bring purpose, from ruin you restore.
Even now your mercy stands before my open door. Your love remains beyond my fear, beyond my sin, beyond my tears. From beginning to the end of days, your love remains.
I thought I knew the road ahead. I trusted strength instead of truth. My steps were fast, my heart was loud. I barely noticed you.
I saw the cracks, I felt the fear when courage slipped away. Yet even then you stayed so near, though I had gone astray.
When all the light was gone from sight, your love was still the same.
Still you love me, still you call me by my name, still you hold me when I'm weak and full of shame. Though the world is torn and hearts are torn apart, still you love me, still you guard my heart. In days where everyone chose wrong and truth was left behind,
Your quiet grace kept shining through the darkness of our minds. You never left, you never failed. Your mercy stood the test. Still you love me,
now.